Hello, and please do not be alarmed. I know I'm doing a lot of whiskey videos recently, but this is not becoming a whiskey channel. I have no intention of becoming a whiskey channel. This is just how the queue turns out sometimes. Although that being said, some of the whiskey channels have given me the idea to make a lot of money doing certifications on the side. So I've noticed it's a travesty that there is no comprehensive educational program for Pomace brandy, Mar and Grappa and stuff. So, I'm going to offer subscribers a pre-sale offer on my Pomace certification. Only $5,000. I'll offer all y'all a discount of $4,000 only. We'll talk about it later. Anyways, moving on to Dickle. I wanted to do Dickle for a couple of reasons. First being, well, I just got this. We will talk about what this is and why it is important in just a little bit. Second reason is I got kind of shocked by another Tennessee whiskey recently, the Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof. That was real good. So figured I would dig into Tennessee a little bit more deeply. And the third is because, for me, Dickle is, at least among the sort of established big American whiskey producers, maybe the most interesting wild card, because they have something that the others don't. They don't have a big brand. They don't have the brand of Jack Daniel's. They really don't have the brand of Buffalo Trace. They don't have the pedigree, the off the still thoroughbred quality of something like Wild Turkey or Four Roses. What they do have is lots and lots and lots of older stock lying around that they can sell cheaply. So, I mean, everyone has a little bit of older stock, right? It's not that hard to get a hold of, say, Barton's stock that's over 10 years old. But you're going to be paying a lot of money for it. You're going to, those 14-year-old Lucky 7 picks, they are not cheap. And, so on and so on and so on. You can go down the line. Dickle is a little bit different because they seem like they're in a position where they're very happy to drop a 15-year-old whiskey on the shelf for, well under $100. So if that's what you want as a consumer, that's kind of what your option is, right? So that makes them a very interesting wild card. Is that going to be enough to draw consumers over to this brand that has a reputation for, let's say, an interesting character? I don't know. And the further question would be, if consumers move there for a little while, what's going to make them stay? Have they got any other cards to play? Well, let's talk about that. In the meantime, I'm going to pour what I'm drinking here. So the first is going to be the George Dickel Bottled and Bond Tennessee Whiskey. This is a 13-year-old from the all distilled in the spring 2007 distilling season. Bottled and Bond means it has to all be from the same season. I think I paid $50 for this, which is in American whiskey like unheard of. Like, point me to someone else selling 13-year-old Bottled and Bond whiskey for, this kind, and not light whiskey. Don't play that game with me. Like, I mean, like actual decent whiskey that you can go to a store and actually think about buying. Not some ridiculous allocated thing either. Like, you can probably still find this if you're looking for it. Next up, we got two Dickel 15-year-old picks. These there's a standard bottling of the 15-year-old, but there were also a couple of single barrel selections made by stores across the country. The first one of these is from Mission Liquor, and the second one is from K&L Wine and Spirits in California. These were also not very expensive. I don't know exactly what they're all around $70-$80. And then, assuming I poured these in the right order, you've got this Bone Snapper Straight Rye Whiskey Single Barrel. We'll talk about this when we get to it, because This is very interesting. Okay, some of you watching this probably know already what this is, and why it's cool. Okay, let's go through these. Start with the Dickle bottled in bond. Again, 13 years old for like $50. 50% alcohol, obviously, and all the rules that go with bottled in bondness. Okay, on the nose. Yeah, in a blind tasting, I am naming Dickle like right off the bat. So there's toasted corn, like almost toasted cream corn. So you poured some cream corn out, and then you sort of got your chef's torch and you torched it up a little bit. But then there's also this intense minerality and like strawberry cough drops. That is the signature George Dickel, what is often called a Flintstones Vitamin note. This sort of fruity minerality thing, or mineral fruitiness. And I have to think it's from fermentation. I don't know what else it would be from, because I get it in everything they make. I kind of like it. I kind of find it fun and interesting. Often I find the whiskeys are a little bit lacking in other stuff going on, but it's a note I don't mind having. Other people absolutely hate it, so this is divisive stuff. Anyways, it's here along with that toasted corn note. In this case, what makes this work is it's sort of flanked by other stuff. You got some fresh ground peppers. Like there's a sour wood note. Yeah, like you took an axe and you sort of hacked off a chunk of like a pine tree or something, and just kind of like smelled the wood. It's not actually from the it's a tertiary note, right? It's not actually from the wood that this stuff is aged in. What you're getting is a combination, a kind of synthesis of the barrel char notes with the sour corny notes, which is creating this impression of a kind of raw, fresh, sour wood kind of thing. Bread pudding, like oatmeal, the steel cut oats that you leave overnight, that kind of oatmeal. A little bit of kind of old stuff, like one old leather book, and some burned banana peel, and maybe one clump of like dry dirt, but nice. Oh, and there's some tea notes in this, like nothing, not like super awesome. This is like Lipton's, but I enjoy Lipton sometimes. It's nice. It's a balanced nose. You can tell it's Dickle. That the fruity minerality thing is right in the center there, but there's enough other stuff going on that this works actually really well on the palate. Oh, yeah, Flintstones Vitamins, but again, there is balance. So, toasted corn, like street elote. That sour wood thing again, that tertiary note from the corn plus the wood char. Vanilla, like vanilla bean. A lot of coffee in this. Yeah, like really like dark roast coffee. I don't know, South American, Colombia, Brazil, that kind of thing. Cream of wheat. Old library books again, kind of old library stuff. A little bit of hardwood smoke, like maplewood smoke. Yeah, mainly maplewood smoke. A little cherry wood in there too. Tobacco, like burley tobacco, that very kind of nutty tobacco you get in cigarettes a lot. Banana peel and bread pudding again. It's nice. One thing I will say about Dickle, and I think this holds generally, they drink very young for their age. So this is a 13-year-old, but it's coming across you know, more like I would expect a, you know, 8, maybe 10-year-old whiskey to behave. It just doesn't have the sort of woody aggression that I would expect from you know, a 13-year-old American whiskey, which is not a bad thing, by the way. All right, so I'm gonna give this a squirt of water or two. I'll come back. So, if you're new to this channel and this game, first of all, hello, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the Pomace joke. What I do usually is I try these neat, and then I add a little water, and I go through them again with water. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna add a squirt or two. Yeah, they're very distinctively what they are, but this one is, it's got balance. It works. All right, moving on to the Mission Liquors George Dickel 15-year-old. This one is a mere 42.2% alcohol by volume. So the Angel's got a lot of this. It does make me curious about George Dickel's like cellars, warehouses. Like, are they just really damp? Is that sort of why we're not getting ABVs climbing up into the 70s and rather sort of crawling down into the 40s? I don't know. I've never. Someone has been there, and please tell me down in the comments what are the warehouses like? Are they really like damp? Do we have some wet ass warehouses going on? All right. Anyhow, 15-year-old Dickle on the nose. Ooh. Darker, dustier. This is much more of a sort of gothy George Dickel. This one listens to The Cure. Its favorite album is Disintegration. But the vitamins are still there. They're a little bit more subdued. There's an intense, there's a cafe drink kind of note in this. Not a latte, more like a cortado, something a little bit more driven by espresso. Lipton's tea again, that sour wood note. Kirsch, but this is more like serious German, like what I'm getting when I say Kirsch is the seeds as much as like the cherry fruitiness. Yeah, so like cherry and cherry seeds. And dirt, like lots of dirt. Dirt all sorts, dirt all day long. Little sweet potato, some birch beer, kind of soda notes. And again, that sort of dusty old library books kind of thing. Again, it noses younger than it is. It's remarkably fresh for its age. All right, on the palate. I mean, it's woody, as you would expect. Finish is very dry, bringing in some of the corny sourness, that sort of sour wood note I was talking about. It's not as ashy on the back end as I was expecting. You expect with a 15-year-old American whiskey to just be, you know, blown out by black pepper and ash on the back end, but this one's much more on that sort of subtle sour wood kind of note. Well, there is black pepper, burley tobacco again, oriental tobacco as well. So a little bit more citric tobacco, a little grassier. A flat white, a good old flat white coffee. Lipton's tea again, dirt, lots of dirt. And yeah, the Flintstones Vitamin note, the sort of classic fruity minerality note. Kirsch, again, seed-driven Kirsch. You know, actually, the finish is a little bit short. It's not unsatisfying. It's just, it doesn't hang on as long as you would expect. It's an old whiskey, but it doesn't have the, you know, the profound length you would expect from an old whiskey. This is something you would just, you know, quaff without thinking about it too much. Maybe it's the strength. I don't know. Some kind of a big red gum, the cinnamon chewing gum note. And some like unripe strawberries, like green strawberries. Nice. I'm not sure if I like it more than the bottled and bond though. I will give this like literally 3 drops because I do not want to drown this with the strength being as low as it is. So we'll come back to that in a second. Moving on to another 15-year-old store pick. This is the K&L in California, George Dickel 15-year-old. 50.6% alcohol on this one, so the Angels got a little bit less. Maybe the warehouse was a little bit less damp here. All right, let's stick our nose into this. Yeah, okay, it's a vitamin sour wood party. That's what's going on. More fruit actually. There's some cherry, red currant, wood char. Some outright wood char going on this time, like cigar ash. Not Maduro. This is a natural leaf cigar ash, but still. Irish breakfast tea. The big red gum note again. White pepper, oatmeal, but it's really dominated by the sort of the combination, the team up of, you know, fruity minerality, the vitamin note, and the sour wood note. It's nice. Again, I don't think this actually tops the 13-year-old for me. But let's see how it works on the palate. Ooh. So, oh man. So all the black pepper and ashiness on the back end that was not in the Mission liquor pick. Apparently the K&L pick stole all of that because now my mouth is ridiculously dried out by this. This one is actually showing its age. I might actually believe this was a 15-year-old whiskey. Just because of how dry and aggressively dry it is on the back end. Black pepper, ash, Flintstones vitamins, and sour wood. Cinnamon sticks. There's some spearmint in there. Some nutshells, dusty books. It's very Dickle. It's what you expect from a very old George Dickel. Oatmeal. What the hell? It's fruity, but almost if you could imagine like Kirsch ice cream. I'm kind of getting that note. So seedy Kirschi ice cream. Yeah, some clove. Burley notes again. Burley tobacco. Yeah, but what dominates this is really just the wave of pepper and ash on the finish. It's a much, much longer finish, but it's also kind of, you know, drier and a little bit more aggressive than I would like. So it's really, you know, between this and the Mission liquors for me, it's a little bit of a wash right now. But we'll give this a couple squirts of water. Come back to it. What I'm really worried about is it's going to bring the wood out even more. Because that often happens with old whiskeys. Oh, yeah. It's bringing the wood out. Okay, moving on. What the heck is this? Bone Snapper Straight Rye Whiskey Single Barrel. Now, the important thing to know about this, well, let's start out. This is a pick by the r/Bourbon people, so the Bourbon subreddit people led by Take. It is, if you're curious, there's no barrel number, but it is bottled at 60.5% alcohol. Total of 184, maybe 189. I think it's 189 bottles. This is aged in oak for 90 months from 2014 to 21, late 21. Now, what is important about this? So, you may be aware that George Dickel apparently does not make its own rye. They sell a rye. They have a brand of rye, but as you know, that is sourced MGP. That is stuff they're just buying, basically buying from Indiana and bottling under the George Dickel name. Now, what you might be wondering is, well, like George Dickel has its own distillery, right? Right? Why aren't they just making their own rye? I mean, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you just do some runs and save yourself the trouble of having to pay for someone else's stock and pay for shipping it to be bottled and all that stuff? Yeah, that would make sense. Another addition to the puzzle. You may have just noticed the collaboration with Leopold Brothers. Their 3-chamber, but also blended with some George Dickel rye. You might have said to yourself, what the heck is that George Dickel rye part? Where did that come from? When did they make that? Why is that not being sold under the George Dickel rye label? So far as I can tell, I don't have the whole story. George Dickel, maybe 2 years into sort of selling MGP rye, did attempt to make their own rye stocks. They attempted to kind of duplicate the MGP recipe a little bit. So I don't know exactly what the mash bill in this is, but I'm guessing it's 95.5. I'm guessing it's as high rye as you can get, just like the MGP stuff. And yes, as you may have expected from my babbling, this is indeed a bottling of George Dickel distilled rye whiskey. So this is a little bit hard to come by. This is a little bit special. It's a chance to see, apparently they gave up on this. I don't know why, but they seem to have given up on this. And let us see if they were wrong to do that. So here we go. Bone Snapper Dickle rye, 60.5% alcohol, probably 95% rye and some malt in there. Let's see what we got. Oh man. Hello there. Okay, so let's start out by pointing out that the Dickle note, that sort of fruity minerality Flintstones Vitamin thing, is still in there. But it's been completely recontextualized. It's now been, that fruitiness has now been set against a background of like coffee cake and frosted shredded wheat. Lots of cereal notes. Vanilla. A couple of burned asparagus stalks. There's a lot going on in this. And instead of dominating the affair, the Dickle note is actually adding a kind of, it's lightening it up. It's actually kind of adding some brightness, some fruitiness to the intense, grainy darkness that's going on. Oh, that's a good nose. Some fresh coffee grinds, like light roasted Hawaiian coffee, which is overpriced for what it is. Still pretty nice though. Tea leaves, black tea leaves. So not actually brewed tea, just like tea leaves. But also some stewed black tea. Black pepper, lots of black pepper. Some orange zest. Some the chocolate-covered peanuts, the dark chocolate-covered peanuts you used to get at the grocery store as a kid? That's in here. And a little bit of fresh basil. This is a really fucking good nose. Wow. This is, okay, even as a, 7.5-year-old, 90 months? This actually has more going on as a nose than any of the rest of this lineup. And I kind of like these. You know what I'm saying? All right, on the palate. Oh, damn, that's good. And don't tell me it's just the proof, because I'm about to proof this down. It's still going to be good. Again, what you're getting is a balance between these serious, dark, spicy, coffee, peppery, grainy notes, and that really kind of light, fruity, aromatic, Dickle fruity minerality thing. So I'm getting coffee, I'm getting tea. Oh, Brussels sprouts, jalapeno, hippie toothpaste, which is a note I use a lot on gin, but not so much on American whiskeys. So that kind of like mint and fennel kind of in tandem, that kind of note, hippie toothpaste. Vanilla, birch beer, frosted shredded wheat again. A little bit of Angostura bitters. Orange zest again. Lime zest even. Oh, long, serious, drying finish. But again, balanced. It feels both, it's aggressive and drying and peppery and ashy, but you got those sort of herbal notes to make it cooling. You've got the Dickle note to kind of make it almost fruity and light, and it's just, this is really good. I really, really like this. Damn. All right, let's give that some water and go back to it. 3. That's 5 squirts. Let's see if that's enough. Like, could use another half squirt. Let's go with that. Oh. We Dickle, we need to talk about this. We really need to talk about this. But first I'm going to go through the rest of these and give them another go through, see what happens now that we've added some water to everything. All right, back to the George Dickel Bottled and Bond 13-year-old, released last year, I believe. With water. I mean, it's nice. There's some kind of almost aromatic wood notes coming through now. Some maybe balsa wood, some incense. The vitamin note is actually receding. It's actually quite, delicate and aromatic. It's not very, kind of American whiskey, grrr. It's not very bourbon-y, but it's nice. I like this. Don't come to something like this, thinking, oh, it's a 13-year-old bourbon, it's gonna, kick your ass. But this is kind of its own thing, and you have to kind of accept Dickle for what it is. But once you're kind of willing to do that, there's some quality here. On the palate, oh, as on the nose, with water, it becomes very kind of fruity and aromatic, and incensey, floral. There's some kind of fruity, corny cream of wheat stuff, if you like. There's also a nice little bit of extra dry bite on the back end, which is not objectionable for me. Quite balanced, actually. It's doing its own thing. This is gonna go its own way. You can't really compare it to other American whiskeys out there, but I like this. I'm into this. I'm gonna give this 85 points out of 100 for the Dickel Bottom BIB 13-year-old. And let's move on to these others. All right, on to the Mission Liquor pick, the one that was like, what, 42% alcohol. I only added a couple drops of this, so let's see if that opened it up. Did anything? Nope, not really. It's still kind of this very dark, Batman gothy version of Dickle, which I'm okay with. All right, I don't know what to say. It didn't do anything. It's kind of the same thing as it was before. All right, on the palate with the Mission Liquors pick. Oof. Yeah, don't add water to this. Oh. I mean, it isn't really necessary anyways, but you saw I had like 3 drops of this, and this has gotten just really kind of thin. It's kind of thin and sour and not nice. Does not swim well, this one. Still kind of brings some dark, spicy, sour fun. Yeah, don't add water to this one. I mean, it's not necessary anyways. But so long as you don't, yeah, I would give this a good solid 84 points. 84 points out of 100 for the Dickle 15 Mission Liquors pick. All right, cleanse my palate a little. Moving on. I'm just waiting to get back to this guy, honestly. Which is kind of unfair to the 15s, but you know, that's how it is. Okay, back to the K&L pick. See how this did with a little water. Okay, so the vitamins have receded, again, kind of like the Bottle and Bond. And it's really the sour wood and the spiciness kind of taking it. Yeah, it's sort of sour wood, coffee grinds, and spiciness. All sorts, as they say. A little creamed corn, a little more dustiness. That's about it. Still a nice nose. I wouldn't call this an improvement, but it is a little bit of a development. I'll give it credit for that. All right, on the palate. Oh. No, no. Ooh. Okay. This just pulled a stag on me. Do not add water to stag because the wood comes out and it gets really unpleasant. This just did the same thing. So initially, what I was getting was the wood sugars come out at first. Kind of make it sweeten up the affair, give you a little more vanilla, brown sugary American whiskey happiness in there. But then it's just all shut down by this ashy, bitter, kind of awkward, woody attack on the back end. Fine. Oh. Okay. Put that one back. Don't add water to your Dickel 15-year-olds, I guess. No matter what the proof is. Just don't do it. I would give this K&L pick 85 minus. So we're going to give it a minus because it just gets so dry in the back end. Oof. Yeah, so where do we have so far? 85 for the Bottled and Bond, 84, 85 minus. And now we're back to the Dickle Rye, bottled under the Bone Snapper name. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens with water. And suddenly, I am nosing a really, really good, like Spanish-style rum. I mean, that's what I'm getting. It's a fruit party. This is banana, cola candy, root beer, cherry. And there's like a weird herbaceous, ashy thing going on, like you took your Brussels sprouts from before, threw some herbs onto them, and they just burned the whole thing. And the vitamin note is still there. It kind of recedes again, but it's there, and it's playing along nicely. This is tons of fun. I love this stuff. Okay, on the palate with this rye distilled at the Dickle, or what is it, the Cascade Hollow distillery. Here we go. good. God darn, is that good. So we're getting this kind of fruity, grainy, black peppery, hippie toothpaste, basically. That sort of fennel meets mint sort of character. Tons of pepper. A lot of banana in there too. Oh God, it's good. It's so beautifully balanced. It just takes over the whole mouth. The finish hangs on forever. The wood and the weird yeasty dickly note and the rye, the force of the rye are just marrying perfectly, and I love this. I really do love this. When I was writing this up, I gave it an 86 plus. No, I'm going to give this a full 87 because it deserves it. Wow. 87 points out of 100 for this Bone Snapper single barrel straight rye 4R/Bourbon distilled at Cascade Hollow. This is real good. It's so good, in fact, that I don't know if George Dickel is watching, or if they care at all about YouTube channels like mine. If they are, first of all, hi, thank you for enjoying, and I hope you appreciated the Pomace joke as well. But second, please make more of this. This is good. This is great. Please make more of this. Like, this is, you try this and you immediately get the sense of like the minerality, the fruity minerality note that the George Dickel, the people complain about, that can kind of seem to throw Dickel bourbons, or Dickel Tennessee Whiskys, I should say, off balance. It's still here, but the fact that they've amped up the character from the distillate by adding so much rye content means it actually works. So the problem was never maybe the problem was never the fruity minerality note. It's just that there wasn't enough going on, because stuff like this is only bottled with what, 8% rye, something like that. I mean, the Dickel mash bill, from what I should have written it down, but it's as close as you can get to like 80+% corn, some malt in there, and then way under 10% rye. So this is just to show you it's what have George Dickel been kind of doing their mash bill wrong the whole time? Have they just been wrong to let the corn dominate so much? Should they be leaning harder into the rye? I kind of think so. I don't stop making this. This is good too, but start making some other mash bills, and definitely make more of this. But start maybe experimenting with some other mash bills where you can let the rye sing a little more. So, if you will humor me, what I have here is a measuring cup, and what I'm going to do is I am going to pour 1 part of this 13-year-old Dickel Bottled and Bond to another part, or I'm sorry, 2 parts Dickel Bottled and Bond to 1 part of the Dickel Rye, and we will plop it in a fresh glass to let it marry for a second. Now, what you've got essentially, you'd have to adjust. I don't know even what the Angel share for these would be. Obviously, this is higher proof. That doesn't mean that the Angels have stolen more from that term. But basically, what you're getting in this glass is a sort of a balance that would be 35 to 40% rye-ish. So what we're getting is we're kind of getting a representation of what a high-rye Dickel bourbon would be like. It isn't really like that, because you'd actually have to distill that mash rather than just kind of blending 2 different things, but it gives you some idea of what it would be like, right? It's nice. This is actually really nice nose. It gets even better if I add some water to it. Hold on. It's 2 squirts. Thank you for humoring me and waiting around as I do this. Oh. So, yeah, I'm getting the sour wood kind of note I was getting from the bottled and bond, but man, the additional rye content just brings so much extra character to this. Oh, this is nice. Like, again, Dickle folks, if you're watching this, try a mash bill like this. Try, like, 35-40% rye and just barely legal bourbon if you can. Bitchin'. Terrific. Just, oh, that's nice. Crap, I can drink this all day. So the rye is bringing tons and tons of character. Lots of spice, a little bit of herbaceousness, a little bit of lots of coffee notes. But it's nicely softened by everything going on that was going on in here. This is actually adding a little bit more sourness to the rye character as well, which I imagine is just ultimately from the corn. Yeah. I think this is long since sold out, but honestly, I'm reviewing it to kind of make a point more than anything else. I honestly wish I'd bought a second bottle of this just so I can make more of this sort of hybrid 2-to-1 blend I've made. Oh, it's terrific. So yeah, that's that's all I got to say. 87 points for the rye, and again, George Dickel, please, if you're Cascade Hollow folks, start making products with higher rye content because you're very, very good at it. You're like super good at it. I don't know if the younger versions would be as good as what this is, but I mean, if you're willing to give it the patience, like you've really got some magic going on here. So and I don't know what to say. I would love to go to my local store and buy more of this rye. Under the big green George Dickel label, for that matter. And I would definitely love to go to the store and buy some high-rye George Dickel bourbon. I think it would be terrific. In the meantime, George Dickel remains a very, very interesting wildcard distillery and a great place to go if you're looking for, a distinctive but very characterful and value-driven American whiskey. I particularly recommend this 13-year-old. Thanks for watching, and cheers.